like that. And what a great testimony to the legacy of your mom and your dad. And thanks for taking the time and running into your marriage and your kiddo. And that was awesome. Perfect musical backdrop. Yeah, thank you. The message that we were just singing is the message of the day. So if you're a guest at Carmel, thanks so much for choosing to be with us today. We're honored and blessed that you'd be here. And this is stop 12 of 66, called Route 66, a study of the Bible, and we're in 2 Kings today. And I want to say out of the gate this: leaving a legacy is not a choice, because you're going to leave one no matter what. The question is, what type of legacy? I think this is super important for us to get right out of the gate. Because a lot of times we think, I need to choose to leave a legacy. No, you're going to leave one. We're all going to leave a legacy. It's just a question of what is it going to look like. There's going to be something written on your tombstone. Others will write. You might tell them what to put, but we won't know. Because they're going to write whatever the true legacy is. Beloved granddad, or mean as a snake. Just kidding. But I'm not kidding about the fact that leaving a legacy is not a choice. It's what type of legacy is the choice. So I want you to come in really tight with my heart, and I want you to think about the rest of your life. Some of you are just getting started. Some of you have been around a long time. We're all going to breathe the last breath someday, and a legacy will be left, not about how good a guy you were or a good gal you were, but a gospel infused, saturated legacy. In 2 Kings 1, the time is 850 BC. And I told you last week that 1st and 2nd Kings is one book in the Hebrew scripture, Tanakh. In our Protestant English, it's two, but it's really one book. And so there's a narrative, there's a story that's happening in the Kings. And in that turning of the page from 1st to 2nd in your Bible, it's about 850 BC. So the Assyrians are coming, they're going to take the Yankees away, and the Babylonians are coming, they're going to take the Southerners away. And at that time, there's a bunch of prophets. Have you ever read the prophets and thought, where is this guy? If you want a timeline in your brain to see, where is Elijah speaking? Where is Isaiah speaking? Later in the series, I'll give you a nice little timeline that'll show where they're all popping in with the different kings. But for today, let me just say this. The northern kingdom of Israel, Elijah's ministry is wrapping up as we turn the page into 2 Kings. And his Timothy, his protege, Elisha, is going to start. And they're going to plead, they're going to preach, they're going to prophesy for God, and they're not going to listen. And so the Assyrians are going to come and take them away. And all the while in the south, there's a prophet named Isaiah who's doing the same thing. And he's pleading, they don't listen. And then God's going to discipline them, and they'll be taken away by the Babylonians later. So I want you to hear the thought flow of what's happening and how God was so faithful. And what we saw last week with the United Kingdom that divided, the divided kingdom today becomes the dissolved kingdom. So you've got Saul, David, Solomon on that straight line. And remember this deal? It was divided. Okay? So at the end of that, it's going to go away. Because of the Assyrians and because of the Babylonians. Actually, because of Israel's refusal to listen to the Lord is why it went away. So let me give you some quick cartoons and then we'll jump into the text. Here's your big picture of 2 Kings. It's very simple. The first half is what I just said. The fall of Israel, the Assyrians, and the south from chapters 18 to 25 is the fall of Judah, and the Babylonians will carry them away. And so that is the heartbeat of the book. But I want you to hear the power of legacy in the book, because there are going to be a bunch of kings, and we're going to look at some of them, and we're going to see how good kings had good dads and bad dads. And they made decisions on whether they in their life would follow in the footsteps or choose a different way. So here's your memory peg of the week. This is 2 Kings. Why? Because there's two kings who look terribly unhappy. And there's a reason, because this is not a resort. What do you think the name of this island might be? Because the name of this island is the theme of the book. These two palm trees look like an X. This is Exile Island. Okay? So last week, remember, 1 Kings was a dude with a crown, and he had a 1 on his crown, and it was Solomon because he had half a heart. Remember what was behind him? A snapshot of 1,000 wives and a big bag of money that was spilling out. Remember that? So the heartbeat of 1 Kings was Saul had half a heart for God, and it split the kingdom in half. Leadership has consequences. And that's what the theme of this book is. And your life does too. Your life has the power for fantastic legacy. It has the power for a passive, neutral approach to legacy. And it has the power for evil and wicked legacy. There's 3 main choices. Johnny, I'll take door number 1 should be your response. But it's a choice. I love the end of that song about the extraordinary life that we live this ordinary day. Because I've said that to you often. It's like a string of pearls. The extraordinary life is simply a collection of ordinary days that are lived well for the glory of God. Where grace can be seen in places of brokenness. When we fail, God is still good. When we blow it, when we feel alone, God is still good. That ordinary days lived with an eye to Him, loving Him back and loving others around us, creates an extraordinary life. So, what kind of legacy are you currently leaving? And you go, oh, I'm just 18, dude. I'm just thinking about college right now. Well, your life is a brick-on-brick story, and you're building it now. Will it testify to the grace of God or not? So, this is where we started last week. I'm going to quickly rebuild this because I know everybody wasn't here last week. But if you'll notice on the screen, you've got those guys, Saul, David, and Solomon, no heart, whole heart, half a heart kings, and then boom, what's the year it blows up? It's an open book test. 931. There's only one date. 931. I'm never trying to embarrass you, so don't ever feel like I'm trying to trick you. So here's the deal. When it blew up, okay, you got the Yankees in the north. How many of the 12 tribes are up north? 10. How many are down low? Okay, who's up north of the country of? Asia. I've never said this. This is one way I remember this. Think alphabetically. I before J and A before B. It just helps me in my brain remember what's happening. And the Assyrians are going to come along in 722, take them away, and the Babylonians in 586. So that's what we did last week, and I said it blew up because of this guy, but it really is because of Daddy. Because Daddy Solomon had a half a heart for God, and the consequence of that was a son who didn't have a heart for God. He tried to raise taxes and be a mean ruler, and the kingdom blew up. It literally blew up into 2 halves. So I want to erase all that. And I want to layer something else for today. So how many kings were in the north? Anybody know? 19. And they're going to go all the way across. How many in the south? Yeah? 20. Guess how many godly, good kings were in the north? Loserville. 0. Not one. And this timeline is a great example of the power of good leadership and bad leadership, of godliness and of evil. Because why do you think the South lasted longer? It's because they had 8 good kings. And so it was like a preservative. It was like salt. So it was really wicked and evil. And then this good king would step up and give hope to the nation. But they never went all the way. Because even with these 8 good kings, it always says that they didn't tear down all of the high places. So they did some good, and they get credit for the goodness there, but they weren't wicked. Because these guys up top, many of them, they weren't just passive rulers. They were wicked. Like, they don't look like our team kind of guys. So let's look at it a different way. Here's your little scorecard. Israel comes in at 0 in the north. Go down south to Judah. 40% of the kings are good and godly. Not perfect, but good kings. If you add all this up together, 21% of the kings, north and south, followed after God. And we wonder why Israel became divided and became dissolved. That's why. Because the power of leadership and the power of legacy is real. So what I want to do is ask you to turn to 1 Kings 11 first, and that is to illustrate in one way that this is one narrative. We're going to be in 2 Kings in a moment, but we're going to start in 1 Kings. And I want to tell you the grid, how they looked at choosing good versus evil when they assigned goodness to them. You ever been to a competition and they have a criteria and you got this, and this kind of thing? So the three things that they had to do to be considered a good king was, did they worship God alone? Did they tear down all of the idols? And did they remain faithful to the covenant? Okay? Worship God alone, tear down the idols, and stay faithful to the covenant. And we're going to see, actually, the first king that did evil in the eyes of the Lord was actually Solomon. Because it says there in 1 Kings 11 this, Solomon did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, and he did not wholly follow the Lord, as David his father had done. We're going to hear 24 times in the text